Last Thursday, the entire UCSC community was affected by the demonstrations that took place at the base of campus. Classes were canceled, dining halls closed, but what was the reasoning behind this day of action?
So in general, we're against the privatization of education and the death of public education. It was coordinated. The call for the March 4th action was made at an October 24th statewide mobilizing conference up in Berkeley, and we've been building for it ever since. Here at UCSC, we're calling for a March 4th strike that'll shut down campus for the whole day, and hopefully, be an incredible space to build the movement at the base of campus with the strike line. And we'll send a message to the regents in the state of California that we won't stand for the privatization of education.
But how are the students affected by these fee increases?
For students specifically, the effect is massive. Back in December, the regents voted on a 32% increase in student fees here at the University of California. That brings the cost of a University of California education up to over $10,000. And there's been some really important research done by professors here at the UC, like Bob Samuels and Bob Meister, talking about the raise in tuition fees and what effect that has on students and how that plays into the global economy. This 32% increase raises the level of debt massively that students are going to be expected to go in. Already the average debt of a UC student going to a public university is around $60,000 coming out of a 4-year education. That's going to go up even more now with this 32% increase. That's putting students in debt for 10, 20 years after they get out of a university education. And for some students, it's going to be a lifelong debt. The effects of this fee increase have particular costs to working class and people of color who are trying to get access to the university. It's going to force ever-increasing debt on the families and students who are trying to get a University of California education. And that's just not something we're willing to stand for. Public education means that people have a right to education. That's something that should be, when the University of California started, it was free. It was something that was open to everybody. And it combined high quality with a high level of access. And that's just falling apart. And the fee increase is just one facet of public education falling apart, and that's the one that's having the most major increase of long-term, lifelong impact.
What many do not know is that this fight was not only about the students.
It's about workers, it's about race, the fact that all these racist acts have appeared on campus, that this is something that's not new. This has been occurring. The administration has not dealt with it, and they're still not dealing with it. All they do is have a teach-in which gets protested, and our counter teach-in is more popular than theirs. They send out emails saying how sorry they are without actually doing anything. All they do is talk. What they actually got to do is fess up to the institutionalized racism within our system.
Action, however, was not only present in California.
The call for a March 4th strike has had people be in support in 47 states in the U.S. so far that I've heard. I'm not sure what the 3 missing states are. I'm trying to figure out. It's not Texas, which is one of the ones we thought it might be. Texas is also there's a couple strikes in Texas. People in New York are fighting back. Definitely people in Michigan fighting back on March 4th. And it's also global. Schools in Mexico have endorsed the call for a March 4th strike. Schools across Central Europe, where there's been a lot of education fight back against the privatization of education, have supported the call for March 4th. So though it's predominantly California's going to have the massive actions, all across Southern California, across the Central Valley, across the Bay Area. Lots of schools in Oakland, which is where the massive K-12 organizing has been, are going to be shutting down or be on sick outs, or going to be, the teachers are going to be taking the kids out and just hanging out in the playground and saying no to privatization. We're not going to teach on this day. So California is the central spot, but it's expanded across the globe.
The UC budget was just one issue amongst others that students discussed when asked why they were supporting March 4th.
The budget cuts are ridiculous. Everything's getting affected. I can't even get on a bus on Saturdays to go to the health center. The health center itself has been closed a lot too, so that sucks. I don't know.
Really don't agree with how the school is hiding the facts from us when it seems like a basic right to know what we're paying for.
March with them and strike with them because the cuts are creating segregation within the UC system. I'm protesting because if the fees go up as much as they're going to, I don't know if I'll be able to return back to UC Santa Cruz, and I would love to come back, but I can't afford to, and that's not fair, so.
I'm out here because I'm pissed off. My tuition's going to pay a bunch of administrators. I could be having better classes, more teachers, more TAs.
I noticed that the public education is not being prioritized anymore, that it's being put to the floor, and that something so fundamentally important to students, to the high schools, to middle schools, to elementary schools, is not being prioritized by the state anymore. That they feel that they are not being held responsible and that they should not be held accountable for increasing our budget, because we deeply need it. There's being cuts left to right from faculty, administration, ethnic resource centers, retention centers, which specifically target, sadly, people of color. So we need this to be spread out. We need to be aware that we need to get the Senate, we need to get Congress, legislature in the state of California and nationwide to realize that this is important to us and this is our futures at stake.
Do you guys think this is going to make a difference today?
I hope so. I don't know. I'm a politics major, and the massive thing is that you do need to call your congressman and you need to write letters, because the second they think their votes are in jeopardy, they're going to do something.
I think it will. I think that this is a big enough thing, and it's statewide too. It's not like just UC Santa Cruz. All the UCs are doing it, and I think that they're hearing our voice. So
We support every.
And there's multiple ways where this strike can influence people. There's obviously the political tension. Politicals, the legislature are responsible for the citizens. They are responsible for the votes. They are responsible for what happens in our state. So people out there who have the power to make change will hopefully hear us out and will make change politically, economically, and socially. So in many ways, this has made a change. Awareness to high schools, to elementary schools. I know I let my sisters know what's going on today in their high schools and their middle schools, and they're wearing white shirts today in solidarity. So in many forms, this is affecting for change to happen, for policies to be made, for the budget increase to be increased. But fundamentally, this is making changes in so many levels, and we hope that this is not the beginning, but the ending, but a beginning of something new.
I hope that this will provide a galvanizing force for legislatures to realize that the lobbyists that are paying their salaries will soon be held accountable for the demonizing ways they put students up. The demonizing ways in which students are put up against kind of the forces of market and economic change in which we really had no role. This economic crisis is something that we didn't create, but we are suffering for actively.
But the arguments must be reinforced by action. It requires you to do more than come here today. Thank you for coming today. I'm not trying to make you feel bad about coming today. It's wonderful you're here today. But this cannot be the last day of action. It's going to take more than one day to turn this university around, to move it beyond corporate values.
Are demonstrations enough to get legislators' attention? I guess only time can tell. I'm Cristina, reporting from BSN.